This recording might be the most important recording I ever make and that you listen to. If we choose to ignore this, I predict a pretty fast decline into something between what Australia is experiencing now and what China is going through at the moment. Amazingly, all we have to do for this to happen is nothing. That's right, just sit back and do absolutely nothing. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the implementation of the amendments to the Health Act in South Africa. If the government is allowed to push this amendment through, we are literally handing over all of our rights to them. I will repeat that. We will be giving up and handing over all of our rights to a government that is renowned for abusing every single privilege or power they have ever had. Are you ready for that? Are you prepared to give up your rights, and are you ready for it? Some might be saying right now that this will never happen. It is impossible. Oh, really? If you remember, when the pandemic started, the government came up with some really outrageous regulations that made absolutely no sense at all. They still don't. Things like preventing you from buying open-toe shoes, banning the sale of alcohol, banning the sale of kids' toys, imposing curfews and limiting or preventing the movements of people through provincial borders, like animals. Last, but not least, was the ban on the selling of cigarettes. Something which we very quickly learned was a very profitable exercise for certain government officials involved in the illegal cigarette manufacture and selling industry. Since then, we have also learned that the ban on selling of cigarettes was also motivated by the fact that the so-called virus, which by the way nobody has been able to isolate yet, did not have the desired effect on smokers. If you thought that those regulations were draconian, and the violent ways in which they were often enforced were totally outrageous and unacceptable, hold on to your hat, because if these new amendments to the Health Act come into effect, it will make the last 2 years look like a kindergarten picnic. Although the government has now cancelled the state of disaster and the mandates on being jabbed are also being reversed by a number of companies, they are literally pulling the wool over our eyes with the implementation of the new Health Act regulations. Not only will the new Health Act regulations make all the previous measures possible again without the declaration of a state disaster, they extend the powers and reach of the government way, way beyond anything you can imagine. Within the new regulations, if your neighbor hears you cough over your boundary wall, he or she could literally make a call to the local state health facility and tell them that he suspects that you might have one of a number of notifiable medical conditions. They could send a team out and without any testing of any kind, take you away to a state isolation facility. Once there, they are free to administer any medication, vaccination, or whatever procedure they deem necessary, whether you consent to it or not. While you're in this situation, you literally will have zero rights and will be totally at the mercy of whoever is in charge of whatever facility you find yourself in. If you in any way refuse to submit to any of these tests or medical procedures, you make yourself guilty of a crime and can be locked up indefinitely. They will also have the right to ship you off to a state isolation facility, and I put that in inverted commas. What they define as an isolation facility remains to be seen. We have already been given a glimpse of what Australia calls an isolation facility, and in my opinion, all they are concentration camps with air conditioning. The mind boggles at what these facilities could be used for. In these proposed amendments, it even says that they can take you or send you to any other place they deem necessary for isolation purposes. The use of the word place is purposely used so as to do away with any specifics. A place could literally be any place. These amendments also provide for as much surveillance and control of the population to achieve this. Now, with all the history of corruption, abuse of power, and incompetence displayed by the government over the last 30 years, where do you think this is going to lead to? It is absolutely clear that our politicians did not come up with these regulations. They simply don't have the intellect or foresight to have come up with them. This is 100% a product of the puppet masters in the WEF, WHO, etc., and it is simply another step to them gaining total control. Unfortunately, our government officials froth at the mouth when they are awarded control over anything. They are the most short-sighted and ignorant people alive as far as I am concerned. All they see is their bank balances filled with money. Little do they know that the day that the one world currency is implemented, their bank balances will be worth a big fat zero. I know that there have been a myriad of petitions put out there for people to sign voicing their opposition to this amendment to the Health Act, but as I've said many times, these petitions mean about nothing. The government pay absolutely no attention to them and will do as they wish, just as they have always done. In my opinion, all these petitions are a total waste of time. The only thing that is going to have any effect now is action, because, as they say in the classics, if you refuse to listen, then you must feel. In my opinion, these regulations, or rather the implementation of them, is going to end up in this country being burned to the ground, and the government officials being hauled out into the streets and dealt with in a way only Africa knows. Once the masses see and understand what this really means, that will be the day this country really becomes hell on earth. I urge you to go and think about this long and hard. This amendment quite literally puts the life of every one of us at risk. It takes away every single right you might think you have. It allows total dominance and control over every aspect of your life, your children's lives, and your grandchildren's lives. It guarantees that you will never again have any say over your own health and body. In short, it will turn you into a subject or property of whoever pulls the strings. This amendment is the worst thing to ever be proposed on this country's people, no matter what the color of your skin is. If the black man thinks that apartheid was bad, just wait until you experience this, my friend. Speaking of skin color, just think how this amendment could be used legally to eradicate any specific segment of the population. I will leave you to ponder over that one. In summary, this proposed amendment to the Health Act is and will be the end of us. Mark my words. Please like and share this on as many social media platforms as possible. It's the only way that my message gets out. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, do it now. You have nothing to lose. If you would like to contribute to my channel and my work, in the description field I have provided ways in which local as well as international viewers can make a contribution. If you would like to make a crypto contribution, also in the description I have provided a Bitcoin as well as an Ethereum wallet address. If you would like to contribute any other crypto, simply shoot me an email to the address also provided in the description, and I will reply with a relevant wallet address. To the amazing people out there who do make a contribution, I say a huge thank you. Without you, these recordings would not have been possible. Until next time, be safe out there.